Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, welcome in to another edition of the JP Peterson Show on this hump day. We got a Super Bowl coming up, but lots to get to from last night. LeBron James breaks the NBA scoring title record. Unbelievable last night. What a scene at Staples Center. David Zimroth, our resident basketball expert, is going to join us at 10:30 this morning to discuss all things basketball. Is LeBron James the greatest to ever do it? We will discuss. And Z's of my age, maybe just a little bit older, looks younger. But he saw Michael Jordan play, met Michael Jordan, and has coached throughout the best of college basketball at Georgia, FSU, and USF back in the day. And always a great conversation with Z talking basketball. So we'll chat with him. He's also going to keep us up to date on Florida State, USF, and UF basketball and high schools local. He's the best local hoops guy to talk to. So we'll chat with him at 10:30. Dan Lucas is going to join us at 10:15 from WFLA. We'll talk about the Rays' new ticket program. Wow, lower price tickets. What a concept. And we're going to take you, we got some very, very special secret audio from the marketing meeting when they came up with this idea for $10 tickets. I think you'll find it very, very interesting.
And I can guarantee you have not heard this anywhere. You have not heard this anywhere.
That is a certainty.
That's a certainty.
That is an absolute certainty. You have not heard this anywhere. But we will take you inside that meeting with the brain trust of the Rays came up with this idea. Groundbreaking idea. I think I have a quote. The Rays are hoping a lower price point will lead to larger crowds in offering $10 tickets to all home games this season. What? Wow. What an idea. Man, it must have come. That meeting, I know, went late into the night because Stu was chained down and he had big towel stuffed in his mouth for the meeting. So we'll get to that as well.
This show's off the rails already. I don't even know what you just did, but I didn't even want to look.
You know how they do? They put the gag on in the movies where they put like a bandana or something or a towel in their mouth. They stuff something in there so they can't talk. That's what they had to do to Stu at the marketing meeting when somebody brought up lower prices. Somebody shut him up. We're trying to get people in the park. All right, stop it. And James Petralka is going to join us at 11:15 of Fox Sports. Of course, he works all the football games for Fox Sports. And we're going to talk about Brady as a broadcaster. How will Tom Brady be as a broadcaster? Will Tom Brady ever make it to the Fox booth? Did Tom Brady even sign his Fox contract? Questions are being asked. So we'll talk about that as well. So we got a great show for you. And we're going to start it off with, well, a little bit of a downer last night. The Lightning lose 4-3 to the downtrodden San Jose Sharks after taking a commanding 3-1 lead in the first period, looking like they're going to run to a 7-1 win like Florida did to them on Tuesday night or Monday night. Was that Monday? Monday night. They just quit playing. It's not like they quit playing. I mean, they outshot San Jose 17-7 in the third period. They just could not solve Kekkonen. Or however the hell they see. I looked it up in the NHL pronunciation guide because as a professional broadcaster, I will use that great resource. And it's in the pronunciation guide, it's Capo Kekkonen, and that's not the way people say it.
That is not the way I've ever heard it said.
No,
and even on the broadcast, it's Kakkonen.
I know, Kakkonen, and I'm like, well, which is it? Is it the pronunciation guy or? Well, it's Kakkonen, whatever. Anyway, he was pretty good last night. The Lightning had, I think they had 72 shots going towards the goal, 37 on goal. And they just, it's just one of those nights where I think they dominated the play, but they didn't win the game. And you can't lose to a team that's the fifth worst in points in the league on the road with a 3-1 lead. It's just, there's no excuse for that. They gave up way too many easy chances at the end there. Timo Meyer, who won the game in overtime, should have won it in regulation with about 10 seconds left. Somehow he gets a breakaway, a 2-on-1 with Kucherov. Good luck with that, Kuch. that was going to probably end up in the back of the net, but it wasn't a great outcome. John Cooper was not that pissed off after the game. I wasn't shocked by that. But it's about these next 3 games, right? They got Colorado coming in Thursday, then they're at Dallas, then at Colorado. These next 3 games. I mean, think about that. This team could end up, if they don't get their shit together, they could end up with 1 point in their first 5 games.
Yeah.
And that's it can happen. These teams are really, really good. I don't expect that to happen. I think the Lightning, when they're challenged like this, what do? They always step up and play their best hockey. So I think it's actually a good thing that they got this little gauntlet in front of them. To 2 teams that could be part of the Western Conference Final. Okay, you got embarrassed on Monday in Florida. You're going to get embarrassed again if you don't show up in these next 3 games.
Yeah, I thought last night to me was even more embarrassing than the first one, because considering the opponent. And last night I thought this was as a layup game as it got. And I'm not meaning that. I'm not trying to say that every game in the NHL is not difficult, because those, as Cooper said after the game, these guys get paid too.
Right.
And they're fighting a lot of them are fighting for their career, stay alive in the league, head coach as well. Like, they need to win.
Yep.
But at the same time, you have a Lightning team coming off getting beat pretty bad 7-1 against Florida.
Right.
Coming at home now against an inferior opponent. It just felt like such a layup. And that first period, they jump out right away to a 1-0 lead. And then it's a 3-1 lead by the end of the game. They're all over them.
Yeah.
They probably could have scored even more than 3 goals if they wanted to in that period. And then, again, I don't know if it's like you said, it's not like they stopped playing.
Yeah.
But here's a troublesome little trend, is that last night they were 1 for 6 on the power play.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you go back to the last 9 games, they're 3 for 28.
That's not good
on the power play. It's not good.
No,
you're not going to win many hockey games like that.
And what we saw last night, San Jose, and Brian Engbaum said this on our post-game show that I do with him at Cigar City Tavern. Come by after all the home games and say hello, or listen on 102.5, The Bone, after the game, that great signal. And he said that was the most aggressive penalty kill that he's seen in the NHL this year. Like, they did not want to give the Lightning any time and space whatsoever, and it worked. And the Lightning really didn't adjust as much as they should have.
No.
And maybe it was just because they couldn't connect on passes. There was a little bit of rust going on there. But that seems to be a trend lately, that these teams are coming out and they're being very aggressive on the power play. And it's keeping the Lightning from getting into the zone and getting extended zone time. So, yeah, they got some work to do on the power play. They really do.
Yeah, it was always the worry, too. Like, you go into – I think this happened last year. I think the same thing happened. They went into the break on fire like they did this time come around. Like, they had 3 or 4 wins in a row.
Yeah.
Going into the break,
yeah.
And you're wondering how that's going to carry over on the other side of it.
It did not.
And unfortunately, it just hasn't.
Yeah.
I didn't have the Lightning giving up 11 goals in 2 games against Florida and San Jose coming out of this.
No. It's disturbing. There's no question about it. But I'm not freaking out.
Oh no.
I mean, nobody's freaking out at it. But it's something. It's one of these points of the regular season that catches your breath a little bit, and the Lightning have to kind of reset. And it's like, again, this is always going to be the issue with the Lightning. Boredom, they're set and they're almost certain to make the playoffs right now. They're almost certain to play Toronto in the first. I don't think I've ever seen a hockey season that played out like this, where it's almost a foregone conclusion. But hey, you got to go play another 35, 40 games.
Yeah.
And everybody's trying to kick your ass. So it's not like you can just lay it out there every night and it's like, come on, let's just get to the playoffs. Because this is a team that's can you imagine how hard it is to get up for a regular season game when you've played as many big playoff games as this team has played? It's got to be really hard from an emotional, mental standpoint.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to make excuses. It just is what it is.
It is what it is. And that's when it's hard for me to really bang on the team that much, right? Because this happened last year. And I thought maybe I even overreacted a little bit. I was a bit concerned last year when we were around March and this team looked like it couldn't buy a victory.
Right.
And they were dropping game. I remember they dropped a game to like Anaheim or something at one point. It was really ugly.
Yeah.
It was kind of the same way that this one went against San Jose. And I was like kind of pushing the alarm button a little bit, but then they go to the Stanley Cup. So That's why it's hard to really overanalyze and critique what we saw. I mean,
imagine how hard it is for John Cooper to keep their attention. I mean, he must have to come up with some very interesting and innovative ways to motivate these guys.
And even last night, like, I thought a lot of it was a little bit of some unluckiness as well. Like they had chances, like they hit the post or the crossbar a few times. Braden Point almost scored a worldie coming down the left-hand side, and he just kind of flips it up over Kakkonen's shoulder. He beats him, and the only thing he didn't beat was the crossbar, if you recall that one, and that would have been the hat trick. And he had a lot. I mean, regardless of what happened last night. He was the best player on the ice for either team.
You think he's going to be ready for Thursday night?
I think he'll be a little bit ready to go against Colorado. I think he'll be a little ready to go.
Like, remember me? Remember me?
I make a difference, just a little bit.
Yeah, man, it'll make a difference. So, that's going to be a big game. And there's probably a little bit of look ahead for the Lightning, too, with Colorado coming in Thursday. But this is the NHL, and if you don't finish your business, teams hang around and beat you, and that's what happened last night. All right, another big news item yesterday, Derek Carr granted permission to visit the New Orleans Saints. Boy, I hope he stays a couple days in New Orleans. Downtown. Really do. Put him up, right there on Canal Street. I think that'll be a great idea because he'll run out of that town pretty quickly. But the Saints facility is in Metairie. So if they're smart, they'll take him right from the airport, right? And the facility's right near there. So we'll just keep him over there and don't let him go downtown at all if they're smart, because that place is a disaster right now. Has been for a while. So now he's going to have to agree to go there. He has a no trade clause, and the Saints, I think, are worse in cap situation than we are. I don't know how they get this salary under the cap, and if they do, they're probably going to have to get rid of some good players. So, but it does put a sense of urgency into the Buccaneers. I mean, that's got to be their number one.
Especially when it's your number one rival.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we talked about this yesterday. You got to. I said the Glazers have to make a bold move to try and get David Carr, and that's with a new OC or maybe a new head coach or whatever it takes. But you get Derek Carr with this particular team, this Buccaneers team, and they're right back in the thick of the NFC race. Now, I'm not saying, is it a Super Bowl team? I mean, that's hard to say. Right now, it's constituted, no. But you got a whole draft and free agency, and yes, they can free up some money. They can remake this roster and keep the core guys, which are pretty damn good, by the way, and certainly win this division. And if you get a home playoff game, you're in the tournament. Anything can happen.
Yeah, and they are $60 million over the cap right now. New Orleans is.
Yeah.
But the thing is, we talked about the Bucs have a lot of flexibility to be able to get out of their cap situation and get a quarterback in here. Well, again, I'm not going to go through all of it and bore everybody with the Saints contracts, but they have a lot of contracts that they can restructure as well.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't even touched, and I'm just going through it right now, and they can easily get back under the cap and get a quarterback in here.
Even
easily.
With Carr's $40.4 million salary?
Yeah, they can get to at least $35.3 million. They can go from $60 million over the cap to $35.3 million. It has it here under the cap, by doing a lot of restructures and cuts to the roster.
Oh, okay. Well, and
now will that make the Saints as deep as a team?
Yeah.
That's the question mark there.
And they've got some holes that they need to fill in free agency too.
Yeah, and they're kind of like the Bucs. They're an aging roster as well. A lot of veterans on here. And, I don't know. I mean, I mentioned it yesterday that New Orleans would be an interesting spot for Derek Carr because of the connection to Dennis Allen. But at the same time, I don't think it's a smart move for a team, to me, that's clearly trending downwards. And I think this is almost like delaying the inevitable for them.
Yeah. Well, I think that the two teams are in a very similar situation. They see the division is winnable, and you get a credible quarterback in there. Nobody's saying David Carr is, Pat Mahomes. Nobody's saying that, or Derek Carr. But he brings you, if you have a roster that has some weapons, he brings you a maturity and a leadership factor that can put you over the top in a very bad division. He'll instantly be the best quarterback in this division, instantly, by a mile, right? So depending on who the Bucs get or depending on who the Saints get, if Carr goes to either one. So they're doing the same thing the Bucs are. They see this as a very winnable situation, this division. And look, it's a year-to-year thing. People want to talk about, well, we got to go get Caleb Williams. We got to go get that. You have no assurances that you're going to get those players. You have no assurances that if you get that player, he's going to be great, i.e. Jameis Winston. So to me, it's about now. You have a roster right now that can win a division. You bring in a credible quarterback, you can win that division. And that's all really that you should be focused on. Get into the tournament and go from there. And who knows what's going to happen down the road. The salary cap's going to continue to go up probably by $25 million a year because of the new TV deals triggered in. So there's a lot of things that you can do. So if I'm the Buccaneers, I want to say full panic mode, but there needs to be some urgency to match whatever the Saints are doing. Get Derek Carr in here. Get permission to talk to Derek Carr. If the Saints got permission, why didn't you? What are we doing? Let's go. What are we doing? Okay, we take a quick break. That's what we're doing. And we're going to come back. Dan Lucas is going to join us from News Channel 8. We will talk all things Buccaneers, Rays. We'll go everywhere with Dan Lucas. We love doing that. So stay with us. Quick break. Dano coming up next. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group. I've known Scott Jeeves for quite some time, and he's just like us, a huge college football fan. He loves his Gators. In fact, he sponsors our Gator Report every Thursday at 11 o'clock with Scott Carter from FloridaGators.com. But he's not just another PI attorney. He is a ferocious advocate for his clients. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in Tampa Bay for over 30 years. He is an AV preeminent rated civil trial lawyer and certified circuit court mediator. Folks, these designations are not just given out. They're given only to the best trial attorneys. But more than anything, Scott takes these cases personally. I've heard it from his clients. He's a fighter you want on your side. Insurance companies hate it when they see you're represented by Jeeves. He's just different. 727-894-2929 or go to JeevesLawGroup.com. That's JEEVES lawgroup.com and tell him JP sent you. Hey, folks, it's still engagement season, and where better to get that special ring than the Gold and Diamond Source. The Gold and Diamond Source has the largest selection of engagement rings in the country, a literal jewelry supercenter with 30 times the inventory of any normal jeweler. You don't have to wait to spend any extra time waiting for them to bring something in. They have everything right there in-house, so why go anywhere else? And you can get up to 15% off this January if you buy something with the birthstone, which is garnet. Garnet and gold, Florida State, get something for your favorite Seminole. And let's not forget the Emily collection from Emily Johnson Weintraub. Very affordable, real gold and diamond jewelry, always stylish and unique. Emily has created this fashion-forward gold, diamond, and gemstone jewelry line ideal for everyday wear. Each piece is designed to enhance your look by featuring eye-catching, modern geometrical shapes. Really unique stuff. Got to check it out. And, of course, Julie and Steve Weintraub, great benefactors here in the local community. So let's keep it local. And you can get 0% financing for up to 5 years. Get a big ring for a little price. It's the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Omerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
Coming back at you. Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com, and Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. So check them out. Great sponsors there. And we bring in our good friend Dan Lucas from News Channel 8. What's up, Dano? How are you, my friend?
Good morning, guys. I can see you. This is different for me. I love seeing you guys. Two good-looking dudes. Yeah, exactly.
We can see you, handsome Dan Lucas, and the audio is way better. So this is
absolutely.
We're making a TV show here, boss. That's what we do. A lot less than you're working with over there, News Channel 8. I can tell you that.
That I can guarantee you. So the big breaking news this morning: Duran is coming to Amalie Arena this summer, and two things. One, the date of the show is June 17th. That's a Saturday.
Yeah.
I looked the last possible day for Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final is June 18th. So they've planned well over at Amalie. I'm just saying.
Yes.
But I'm not the biggest Duran guy, but I'll tell you this. Back in 8th grade, I got completely immersed in it because I wanted to impress this girl. Her name was Heather Elkins. I love you. And she loved Duran. I couldn't stand it. But whatever Heather liked, I liked.
Damn right.
And never, we became good friends all through high school and all that. She ends up getting married to Brad Radke. Remember the pitcher?
Yes.
So she's Heather Radke. Great story. She's running a business, very successful. and she was a Bucs cheerleader back in the day. I mean, everything. Why
There you
would she
go.
want that life as opposed to the struggling sportscaster life? I will never figure that out.
Can you believe that?
We will always have Duran Duran, Heather Elkins and I.
And I'm
That's our
sure,
connection.
and I don't mean to like really put the stake in the heart, especially so close to Valentine's Day, but Radke probably got her backstage at Duran Duran too, because he was all her back
He's
in
probably telling her, honey, Duran Duran's coming to Emily. We're booked. We're ready.
We'll be backstage and Lucas will be in the cheap seats. That's your boy.
Exactly.
Hey, her name is Rio and she dances on the sand. That's all I'm going to tell you.
Right, exactly.
Remember that video? Nick's over here. What the hell are these old goats talking about?
I couldn't even tell you who
what
Duran is, to be honest with you.
They were at the forefront of music
Yeah.
videos, MTV, when MTV was born. Duran Duran, they're on a sailboat, right? The sailboat.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Hanging off the jib or the mainsail, whatever the hell you call that thing, the spinnaker, right? And there, yeah, that was the video, right? The big poofy hair, right?
Heather had some hair. She had the hair, dude.
Oh, well, any hot girl in the 80s and 90s had that hair. Are you kidding me? The poof work. Oh, it's fabulous.
Hot.
Yeah. Bet she was. We'll have to check her out on Facebook now. Brad Radke's loving this. I'm sure he is. Actually, the big story is Derek Carr visiting the New Orleans Saints, and I'm begging them, like, please take him downtown and let him see the disaster that is the squalor, the third world country that he's going to be living in if he goes. The Bucs will bring him here and go, hey, there's where Tom Brady lives on Davis Island.
Right. Pick him up, take him down to Bayshore. Yeah,
right,
exactly.
Right? What are they selling in New Orleans? This is where the 7th hurricane came through, right over here, where the levee broke. And it's still.
I find it ironic that here you go to the Bucs are the second to worst team in the cap situation. The Saints are the absolute worst team in the cap situation, and I know, the Bucs are going to finagle their way through it. The Saints will do the same by a month from now, but that it's the Saints who have jumped into the sweepstakes first to at least kick the tires on it. And I know it requires a deal, at least for the next week. It requires some type of a deal. But if the Bucs are serious, if they really are a contender for this, then now the clock's really ticking. So
exactly.
I'm curious to see if they jump in.
Yeah, I said this yesterday. I said they need a full court press this thing. And right now they're sitting there with no offensive coordinator. Todd Monken is not coming here without a trigger guy. They might be able to get Monken to come here if they can secure Derek Carr, but they better get on it. And, right now it's a compensation thing. And here's the thing. Derek Carr can say no, right? He has a no trade clause. So if he wants to come to the Buccaneers, and then there's been some chatter about that, he could, no, he could just say no to New Orleans and say no to everything. And then the Raiders are going to have to release him because whatever new team he's going to, right? He's not going to say, okay, let me sign with you guys, and you have to trade serious assets, because any assets that your team has to trade to get you are assets they can't use to build around you. So Derek Carr he'd be a moron to accept any trade at this point. So how do you think this thing goes down?
Well, I would have to imagine that if the initial contact hasn't been made, that Jason Light's got his plan together. I mean, Derek Carr has always been on the list. The short list of trades. So he has to know that these conversations were going to happen, that there would be other suitors involved. He also has to know that the $40 million guarantee is a week away. So you're going to gamble with that and try and play the waiting game. And he also knows his own cap situation. And when Derek Carr says, all right, you guys are $55 million over, who's going to be on my offense?
Right.
You've got to have those answers. And so when you hear people toss out names like a Donovan Smith, for instance, that may be a cap casualty, that could impact a Derek Carr who wants to come in here and have a solid situation to come into. I'm presuming, like a lot of people, that Leonard Fournette's not going to be back.
No.
So those are all little, I call them little chunks into the tree with an axe. You get enough of those, the tree goes down. And is the Bucs situation attractive right now? Probably not. Big picture, but Jason Light can at least formulate, show the Cars people how this is going to be mapped out. I mean, surely Light has his numbers already crunched and ready to go. He just has to keep that in house. But I've always felt that Carr is more than a stopgap. To be honest with you, I think he's a chance to win the NFC South again. He's a chance to, with a new coordinator. Maybe this is a little fresh spark the team needs to try and make another run in the playoffs. But they're still positioned, even with cap casualties, they're still positioned as a team with a chance to get into the tournament. Why wouldn't you go for that in this league where nothing is promised?
Right.
Look at the Broncos, what they've gone through.
Right.
After their little window of greatness. So it's here. I mean, if you want it, it's there. Jason, make the phone call. Get them. It's a short flight.
Yeah.
I think it's a quick hop on the Southwest for
Absolutely.
New Orleans.
Yeah.
Get them here tonight. Take them to the coast. A couple of margaritas. Ready to go.
Listen, if they're sending the Southwest plane instead of the Glazer jet, we've got issues right away. I go pick that sucker up right now. And get him here as fast as he can, so he can compare and contrast the two places. Because I think right now Tampa Bay looks attractive in a lot of different ways. When Brady was the quarterback here, it takes your cachet up a level, right? You're following in the footsteps of greatness, and I don't think he comes in here. Carr would come in here with any hesitancy about replacing Tom Brady, because he knows that he can thrive in this offense even with or without Donovan Smith, which I think he's going to be gone. I think you move worse to left tackle, probably I'd kick Hainsey out to right tackle where he played in college. Nick Leverett, I thought, played good at left guard. Gedeke can back them all up as far as I'm concerned at this point. So I think your line is still really, really good. And with the receivers that, and I think they'll bring in a couple of weapons in this offseason through the draft. I think Derek Carr has to look at the situation and say it's really, really good. And I think better than New Orleans. Well, would you agree?
I would have to agree. And to your point on the offense, I'll just say the offensive line. Everybody they brought in here in the past, 2 years? Hainsey's 2 years or 3 years now.
Yeah. Third year.
All of them have been moved from their the positions that made them elite linemen in college, including Luke Gedeke, who's a natural tackle.
Yeah.
What he kind of was raised to be in college.
Right
so
there.
yeah, I like the thought process for sure. To me, now you've got to take that and sell that to a potential quarterback. But the ultimate sales tool for me is the Evans Godwin tandem, and all you have to do is plug in a highlight reel of those guys. If Carr Carr knows who these guys are already for sure.
Yeah.
But when you see, especially the Evans game against Carolina in late December, I mean, how do you not get excited at the thought of throwing to that combo? And you look around, what else do you guys have? Well, I mean, we got a tight end who started to show some potential and growth. There's nothing but upside, I think, on that position. So if with all these pieces in place, Rashad White, one of the most exciting rookies, who, by the way, is up for the angry run of the year.
Oh, that was a good
tomorrow. Yeah, exactly. These are all selling points to me that make the Bucs offense exciting to a veteran.
Yeah.
That would say, all right, I've got so much time left. I want to win a Super Bowl. I want to go somewhere where I can enjoy life. And this has all the pieces for sure. And it's one of the reasons Brady was talked into coming here, and it worked out. And there's no reason it can't again. This team is really good and still will be good, even after the salary cap casualties that are coming.
Yep. I think it'll be a bounce back. All right, we got a couple minutes left. Your colleague and mine, Rondé Barber, we'll find out tomorrow if he's going into Hall of Fame. I'm getting the feeling that it is definitely happening. We'll see it tomorrow night, and I'm sure News Channel 8 is going to be all over it. Obviously, he calls your games in preseason. Been around News Channel 8 for a long, long time. Do you think he's going in? And
I sure hope so. I always, it's gotten to the point now, it's been so long that our reasoning for having Rondé in the Hall of Fame has become almost a local, I guess, a bias, for lack of a better term. And then that most people around the country, when they look at the candidates, they kind of dismiss him. But when you take what he did, and what frustrates me are the voters for this who were younger when he was younger, in that generation of covering NFL all the time, knew what he was doing. when the defense was kind of revolutionizing the defensive schemes in the NFL, the 40-25, which may never be duplicated. There's a place for that in the league's history, and it's a little insulting that it hasn't happened already. But I think he's been a victim of great first year ballots, and this sets up nicely for him. I really hope it does. Pure gentleman, guy who's still learning the game, as he admits, and when we talk about broadcasting, you've had many conversations with him. He's still learning broadcasting. He's fascinated with other people's industries and takes an interest in that. And he's a hell of a representative for pro football and just gentleman, all around the world. It's just a great guy. I really want him to get in.
Yeah, I think it's about time, and he is so well deserving. All right, Dan, what kind of coverage are we going to have this weekend if Friday gets in and Super Bowl coverage from the great news
Well,
channel?
I hope he calls us first. I know he's got a few people lined up to talk to.
Me.
That he's going to have to chat for sure. Yeah, when you get him on the show, will you just shame him? Will you call Lucas back, for crying out loud, Rodney? I know he's probably going to be at the media day at the Valspar coming up in a couple of weeks, and we know we're gonna nail him there if he blows us off. Don't blow us off, Rondé. We're going to go to Canton. We're going to have a good time.
Right. It's going to be such a party. It's going to be fun. All right, Dano. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. We'll catch up.
All right, guys. Be good.
Good to see you on StreamYard, too. That's great. From now on, we're doing nothing but this. Way better than the phone. Absolutely. All right. You're a TV guy, for God's sakes. Be on TV. All right. Quick break. We're going to come back. We're going to do something we don't usually do on this show. We're going to talk basketball with our good friend David Zimroff, longtime assistant coach at Georgia, Florida State, and USF. We're going to talk LeBron. Is he the GOAT, the best ever? I'm going to say no. We'll see what Z says. He knows a lot more than I do. We'll talk some local basketball as well. Stay with us. Quick break. Was your car totaled in an accident? Did your insurance company use Kelley Blue Book or NADA to appraise the value of your car? Chances are they didn't, and you got shorted maybe thousands of dollars. Call the Jeeves Law Group for a free case evaluation because your insurance company may still owe you money. 727-894-2929. It's a free call, so why not find out if you have a case? Insurance companies have been running this scam for a while, and most folks don't know if they've been shorted. Trust me. Scott Jeeves is a different kind of attorney, the kind insurance companies hate to go up against. He could recover thousands of dollars, so why not call? 727-894-2929 or go to JeevesLawGroup.com. That's JEEVES lawgroup.com and tell them JP sent you.
JP here for Emerging Investigations, Tampa Bay's premier investigation agency. Do you suspect your spouse is cheating or involved in a divorce, that your spouse is hiding money, an ex-employee or current employee with suspicious behavior? Is there a criminal matter you need help with? If you need information you can count on, using the professionals at Emerging Investigations is a slam dunk. Emerging Investigations is a licensed and insured private investigation agency, family-owned. Emerging is your ideal resource to secure evidence and validation, allowing you to make informed decisions in life's biggest matters. Led by industry executive Brian D'Antonio, Emerging possesses the experience and resources to get needed results. Emerging Investigations maintains an excellent reputation as a premier investigation agency. They are known for results. You're not just hiring a PI, but an organized, dedicated team using state-of-the-art technology.
great field and great fun. Tickets are on sale now at valsparchampionship.com for all tournament days, both grounds tickets and premium ticket options. You don't want to miss the 2023 Valspar Championship.
Let's go. Right now. Back to the show with JP on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back. The JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group and the Golden Diamond Source. It's Valentine's. Do not forget your Valentine, for God's sakes. They're doing a gift card match over there at the Golden Diamond Source, so get on over there, double your money, and pick something out sweet for your sweetie, or just give them the gift card and they go shopping themselves. That's also a great idea. The Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Almerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. All right, we're going to bring in our basketball guru. My good buddy David Zimroth was an assistant coach at Georgia, Florida State, and USF, coached in the Big Dance, the Final Eight, all that good stuff. And he joins us now to talk a little LeBron James and some local hoops. What's up, Z? How are you?
Man, it's good being back with you, my friend.
Yeah. We don't talk a lot of basketball on this show anymore. I'm sorry, man. I love talking.
Well, there's not a whole lot of basketball going on.
Yeah, you know,
in this town.
It's just, in this town, it just doesn't kind of ring the register at all. But you know what? Last night was kind of special. I know Nick watched the whole thing. I kind of watched the highlights, and you know, and you and I are old enough to have watched Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and that sky hook and the most unblockable, devastating shot in the history of the game. What are your impressions of what you saw last night, and just, is LeBron the greatest to ever play the game?
Well, that's interesting, because I had a feeling you might ask me about that. But the first thing about LeBron James breaking the all-time scoring record is you cannot put it in words. I mean, 20 years ago, the kid was a high school senior, and he's on the cover of Sports Illustrated being called the chosen one. Okay, then he's now the leading scorer in the history of the NBA. Yeah. It's a record most thought nobody would ever break. You know, Kareem, who I'll send this last Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, held the record for 40 years.
Yeah.
So I think it's just unbelievable. The fact that at the age of 38, he can still play at the level he plays at, the condition of his body. He's remarkable. He's absolutely remarkable. And I'll tell you a quick funny story. So I'm coaching at USF, and a friend of mine says there's some good players up in Akron at this high school. So I go up there. I know the coach, Keith Dambrod. I go up there. I'm watching these guys work out, and I turned to him. I said, "The heck with the two guys I came to see. I want that kid. That kid's a great player." He goes, "You can't get him." I said, "Why not?" He goes, "He's in ninth grade. You can't get him." I said, "So I'll recruit him for the next 3 years." I said, I recruit someone for 3 years. I'm getting him. He goes, "That kid's going to be a pro." It was LeBron James.
Wow.
So I saw the kid as a ninth grader at a practice, and I could not believe what I was watching.
How big was he then?
He was a good 6'4", 6'5". He was playing football. He just he was a specimen then. I mean, look, you walk in the gym, I'm saying, I'm here to see these two guys, and who's this guy? So that's a quick little anecdote about
that
LeBron
is so
James.
cool. At ninth grade, you saw him, and they're all, he's going straight. He's going straight to the pros. Yeah, we kind of say that, the chosen one, and it's like, at some point maybe it was inevitable that he was going to reach this record. But how many chosen ones have come along in the last 20, 30 years, not just in basketball, but other sports as well? The next Michael Jordan, the next whatever great player. And there's so much expectations heaped on these players, and they never fulfill them. It's so hard to fulfill that kind of promise, because so many things have to go your way, and you have to will it. You have to have the greatness, and you just have to be so much better than everybody else. And he's done that. And I think the inevitability of the record was there, but I still think you have to marvel at the accomplishment. Just like you said, 20 years of being the best in the game.
I don't know about you. You were a great player back in our lunchtime hoops games. I have a hard time getting out of bed. This guy is playing 40 minutes a game.
Right.
He's played the third most minutes in the history of the NBA. His injuries have come late in his career. So the first 16, 17 years of his career, this guy never was hurt.
No.
So all those things go into it, on top of, here's what I really believe about him. I believe he's the greatest skill. He's got the best skill of any player that's ever played. Nobody's been as skilled as this guy. So there I will say he's the greatest in that department. But to talk about him being the greatest, like those conversations drive me nuts, whether it be baseball, football.
Yeah.
You're talking different eras. You're talking completely different rules on how they play now. The players of 30 years ago to the players now, different.
Okay.
And then if you look at the advance in training and medical attention and the way they travel now and the fact they take games off, I mean, it's a whole different time. So to say he's the greatest and Will Chamberlain's not, he's the greatest, and Kareem's not, he's the greatest, and Michael Jordan, I just think he's one of the greats of all time, whether it be top 3, top 5, but in terms of skill and understanding of how to play basketball, unbelievably the best. The best I've ever seen at those two things.
And when you look at the record, and Kareem had it for 38 years, and I'm sure there were a lot of people, maybe even yourself, that said, okay, nobody's ever breaking that record, right? It stood for 38 years, and now LeBron's got it. Statistically, his numbers with the Lakers, I think all around are the best they've ever been, and he's 38 years old. And last night, I mean, he's running up and down the court. Even in the fourth quarter, he's still doing it. He might end up with like 45,000 points if he really keeps this going for another, 3-4 years? I mean, I know that they always say records are meant to be broken, but if he gets there, like, there's nobody touching this again, right? Because, I mean, you got to have the longevity and everything.
I think it's safe to say that this time around, 40 years from now, this record's still going to stand because I just don't think people are going to play as long as he's played.
No.
I don't think they're going to have the physical ability to play and not be injured at his level. I just think all those things are going to come into play. You got to remember, this guy, here's the other thing too. A lot of guys came out after 3 or 4 years of college.
Right.
Okay. He had 3 or 4 years straight into the pros. So he had a head start. Now, he had a head start in terms of, from 18 to 22, but he was great at 18 to 22. He was already great. He was already able to do all the things he's doing right now against guys way older than him. So, I think in that vein, we see something we probably never see again, that a kid can come into the league. Kobe Bryant came into the league as a high school player. McGrady came in. Kevin Garnett came in. Darryl Dawkins. I mean, Moses Malone, they didn't have the first year, second year numbers this guy had. I mean, this guy's numbers his first 2 years in the league were ridiculous.
Just a special talent that we will never see again. And I think he's, he says he's sticking around to play with Bronny. He's going to be around. I mean, to see him play with his son is going to be the next big deal. And I don't know. I've been a Laker fan all my life. It's hard to like this iteration of this team. I just and the Westbrook thing. How can you be a observer of basketball and think that was ever going to work? And I think it's stolen a couple of years of watching LeBron play in the playoffs. They just can't survive with, giving away all they've given away with what they have right now. They're just not going to be competitive, right? And I just don't see that changing as long as Westbrook's around. Nobody's going to take that contract. That's ridiculous.
Well, I think this is the last year of that contract. So, I could be wrong on the amount of years, but I've seen LeBron James take quote unquote less experience and less talented teams deep into the playoffs in his first few years of Cleveland. Anthony Davis being injured for the amount of time he's been injured has really curtailed their ability to, be one of the better teams in the league. It has flat out hurt them. If this team gets in the playoffs, I wouldn't put anything past this guy. This guy completely dominates the game. People talk about what position is he. Guy's been a point guard his entire career. That's what he plays. He's got the ball in his hands all the time. And if the ball's in his hands, anything is possible. That's my opinion about LeBron James and the Lakers.
They're not going anywhere.
Russell Westbrook is up. Russell Westbrook is up.
They're not going anywhere in the playoffs. Come on. Not doing anything.
If they get to the playoffs.
Right, exactly. I mean, I make it to the playoffs. All right, catch me up on what's going on. What the hell happened at FSU this year? I'll just be honest with you. I'm not following it as close as I should. I just saw they were terrible and I really didn't watch. And Leonard Hamilton's been, he's had more wins in the ACC, I think, than maybe Duke over the last 4 or 5 years, some ridiculous number. So, I mean,
well, he's the third. He's got third most wins in history of the league.
Oh my
If
God!
when he was hired, people said he'd be the third most winningest coach in history at ACC. I think they would have said, "You got to be kidding me."
No.
So what the guy's done there is amazing. There's no denying it.
Amazing.
This year has been a difficult year in terms of their top recruit was deemed ineligible by the NCAA for 16 games. So his development was completely put on hold. I think the transfer, Darren Green coming from UCF to Florida State, that adjustment was somewhat, it wasn't immediate. He's playing a lot of young players, which I can't stand that excuse because at the end of the day, if you give me a great freshman, I'll play against great seniors any day of the week.
Right.
So the guys that he's playing with are not at the level right now of the past freshmen he's had in Scotty Barnes, Patrick Williams, the kid Devin Vassell. He's had freshmen the last 4 or 5 years that went straight to the NBA.
Right.
He don't have any of those kind of guys right now. And they got off to a horrendous start, lost games that school's never lost.
Right.
Siena, Troy State, UCF, Stetson. You're talking about just, program defining losses. They've never had that before. And I think that hurt them to start the year off. But you look at their record, they're 6-7. They have 6 ACC wins, 8 total wins.
Yeah.
So
that's crazy.
Is the ACC not a very good league? Or or are they starting to play a little bit better? Now, what I will say is 5 of those 6 wins are against the bottom 3 teams in the league. So it'll be interesting to see how they finish up.
What's going on at USF? I know Brian Gregory's he got his contract extended. They've had a couple of good wins, but are they making any real progress there?
I saw USF early in the year against University of Massachusetts. My friend Frank Martin's coach in Massachusetts. I went over there. I didn't think they looked very good that night. Compared to that night, how they're playing now, I think it is major improvement. But, as I don't know how many true basketball fans really understand where they were and where they are now. And I'm not sitting here, helping the guy or hurting the guy, but the facts are the facts. They're playing everybody very close. They've lost some extremely tough games. They're playing pretty good right now. If they can close out the season, on a high note here, they're 10-13, 3-7 overall. Tonight's game's a very different. If they can win tonight, who knows what can happen? But they're playing a lot better. At the end of the day, you still got to win some of these games, And but the whole situation over there is going to change dramatically, JP. With teams leaving the American Athletic Conference and going to the Big 12. It's just the situation there, the landscape of that conference right now is difficult at best to navigate if you're a basketball coach and or a football coach.
Yeah.
That's, at the end of the day, that's the deal.
Just in terms of getting recruiting, recruiting players,
revenue sharing. You go to the Big 12 and you're going to get a check for $50 million every year.
Yeah, or more.
You go in the American Athletic Conference. I don't know what the numbers are. I thought I saw a number 8 million. The difference in those leagues is so dramatic now. The separation of those leagues financially compared to the 6th or 7th or 8th ranked conference in the country, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And now you have the NIL, name, image, and likeness. So what are you going to do to compete against schools that have all that in place? Okay. How do you get, and I'm not even saying you need to recruit the state of Florida anymore, one of these schools, because with the transfer portal, you can sell a kid on, hey man, you got 2 years left of school. Would you like to live in Tampa for the next 2 years and be, guys going to play 38 minutes a game? There's a million ways to spin it.
Right.
But those things are there. They're not going away. How are you going to compete with everybody in those situations? And I don't know how they're going to do it because I really don't know the inner workings of their NIL situation. I really don't.
It's a great point. And in Florida, I saw they got a couple good wins in the SEC. Where are they right now?
You know, I like the guy they have coaching there, Todd Golden, young guy from San Francisco. Had a great 3 years out there. You know, they've had games where they've looked great. They've had games that didn't look very good. But, you know, he's got them at 13-10 and 6-4. He had a big time win against Tennessee in Gainesville that the place went crazy. I think he's doing fine for his first year.
Mm-hmm.
The question is, with the success that basketball program's had over the last 20 years, you know, or maybe 25 years, can he replicate that in any way, shape, or form? I really don't know who he's signed. I don't know where they stand with some other players, but you know, that's going to determine where he goes. You're not winning in the Southeast Conference without pros. You're just not winning in that league without guys that have potential to be a professional basketball player. That's my opinion.
I agree.
Now, see what he does.
And taking things out of the state, and like the biggest story, I think, or one of the biggest stories going on right now is the whole situation with Jim Boeheim at Syracuse. And I didn't know this until I started like looking into all this. He's been at Syracuse since 1969. And I don't, and he's 78 years old. I don't know if that's typically the plan. Like usually you have like a successor coming in, kind of like Coach K did with John Shire. It doesn't seem like it's there. It seems like he's getting a little combative with the media. Now he's going after, you know, Purdue and other teams buying players. It just seems like, and it's been a long time since Syracuse has really been a threat in college basketball, which for a blue blood like they are, is just kind of odd. So is it time you think Jim Boeheim probably takes a little bit of that pride away and steps down? Because it seems like he's going out in a bad way.
In answer to your question, and it's a good topic, he's been there since he's 18 years old. He played there. He was in the starting backcourt with Dave Bing. I mean, his history at Syracuse is unmatched. Nobody in basketball's ever done what he's done. Play at a school, then be an assistant, then be the head coach for the past 40-plus years. I mean, it's remarkable. Does that buy him the ability to say things? No, it doesn't. Do I think he needs to retire? He's the only one who needs to make that decision. I'm big on this. There's a lot of guys out there that have been trying to get a head coaching job and trying their best to get, you know, move up in the business, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You know, you get to a certain age in this country, in any position. Is it time? I mean, is it time you just sit back and watch the fruits of your labor and this is the program I built, let's see what someone else can do with it? I mean, you know, hey, look, I've been out of college basketball coaching for 20 years. And maybe the first year was an adjustment because I was on the road for 25 of them and coaching for 25 of them. But I can honestly tell you, I don't miss a thing about college coaching. There's not one thing I miss other than, you know, a good hunt for a big-time recruit or an unbelievable home visit, you know, moments.
Yeah.
You know, and I just don't understand why some of these guys who are incredibly wealthy, they don't need to do another thing. And they just keep coaching. They just keep coaching. Now, I will tell you this, for 78 years old, he's a lot sharper than a lot of other 78-year-olds in this country. He's a lot sharper. Trust me on that one. That guy is sharp. Jim Boeheim is a good man. He's a good father. He's a good husband. He's an unbelievable coach. And what he's done at that school in upstate New York, where the weather stinks, and it's unmatched.
Yeah.
You cannot take away anything he's done. So does that mean he should have the right to, you know, get on some reporter's butt about something? No. But, you know, or tell people, you know, these teams are buying teams. Look, the NIL, nobody should, you know, I learned a long time ago, I worked with Hugh Durham, Georgia, because we lose a recruit. I was 24 years old. I don't want to hear a word about why we lost him or what you think happened. Just go recruit someone else.
Yeah.
So I'm big on never pointing a finger at anybody on how they recruit. I think it's disgusting when people say someone did something.
Yeah.
Okay? Because all of them, me included, we've all pushed the envelope.
Yep.
Okay? Anyone who says they haven't pushed the envelope is an absolute liar.
If you're getting players, you're pushing the envelope.
And let me tell you something. I'll sit there, God rest his soul, with a Dean Smith, a Mike Krzyzewski, a Billy Don, whoever it is. We've all pushed the envelope.
Right.
And now with the NIL, you don't even have to push the envelope anymore. You're allowed to do all these things.
You can push the envelope across the table with big money in it. Is what you can do now.
In my years of coaching, I was handed laundry lists in the middle of a home visit. I mean, I was thrown out of home visits because we didn't discuss certain. I mean, the times have changed. So if you're allowed to do things with NIL, why is anybody complaining about it?
They shouldn't. And how you get a player suspended like Baba Miller was for FSU because for a $3,000 visit to play basketball, I don't know. That's something wrong in your administration. Seriously, something wrong in your administration that the NCAA is doing that. In the time of NIL.
I don't know how much more time we have, but let me tell you what the best story in Florida right now, the best basketball story in Florida that nobody's talking about, is Florida Atlantic University basketball. They're 22-2. They were ranked 3 straight weeks in the top 25. The first time in the history of the school they were ranked. There are schools playing basketball in this state that have never been ranked once, that have been playing a lot more basketball than FAU. And it's hard for me to understand how the statewide media or that story down in Boca Raton is ridiculous. It's unbelievable. My hat is off to them.
Who's coaching?
And then U of M, what Jim Larinaga and Jim Larinaga has done. It's really, I mean, he's got that. They're playing better than anybody right now. But FAU story, Dusty May, head coach, unbelievable.
Well, that's interesting. I saw something about that the other day. I saw them ranked. I'm like, what the hell's going on down there? And they got Tom Herman as their football coach, which I think USF would like to have. I hear you talked about. You mentioned Frank Martin. I was going to say this. Did I hear before he went to UMass he was interested in USF? Why is he not the USF coach? Why is Frank Martin not the USF head coach? No disrespect to Brian Gregory.
First of all, and I've known Frank Martin since he's a manager at Miami High, for God's sakes. The job wasn't open. That's number one. And I think when people discuss jobs that aren't open, that's not the correct way to deal with stuff.
Okay.
Frank Martin is a guy that, in my opinion, can go anywhere in America and be successful.
Yes.
He's got that kind of aura about him.
Yes.
Would he be amazing at a school in this state?
Oh, God. Yes.
I think he'd be really good because everyone in Florida knows him. He's one of our own guys, you know?
Yeah.
And something that people should take a look at any school. But he just got to Massachusetts. What is he going to do? Going to leave after a year?
No, I'm just saying, I talked to some boosters at USF, and the scuttlebutt was that Frank could have been had. I didn't know the job wasn't open. Brian got an extension, but I mean, and I love Brian Gregory, but the record is what it is. And you just, I think, laid out very well how hard it is to win at USF. So you need somebody that's going to come in there that has incredible relationships all around the state of Florida, is a proven winner in college basketball. But just like Deion Sanders, Frank Martin is a different type of dude. When you hire a Frank Martin, you somewhat as a school and as an athletic department, you
know what you get.
Yeah, and he's going to be the face, and he's going to be loud, and he's going to demand things, and it's going to be prickly. It's going to be prickly, and same thing with Deion. It's going to be loud. It's going to it might quote embarrass you at points, but they're going to get shit done. They're going to get it done, and they're going to win. And
they're going to keep you. They're going to keep you relevant
and keep you relevant.
Being relevant is the key.
Big time.
I'll tell you this. Everybody says, well, USF's tough. When I was there for 7 years, now the league was completely different. I mean, the league we're in was just a great basketball league. Louisville, Cincinnati, Memphis.
Yes.
I mean, it was a great league.
Yes.
Great league. I had no problem recruiting.
Right.
And I'm saying me because I did the recruiting.
Yeah.
But we didn't succeed. We weren't able to take those kids and do the things we should have been able to do. I'll be the first to admit it. But at the end of the day, I used to even tell Dick Vitale, we were involved with every kid we wanted to be involved with in Florida.
Right.
We had kids committed that something went wrong, and I could go on and on and on.
Right.
But now you're not recruiting to the same league.
It's tough.
And so I used to tell kids, you want to win a national championship, come to USF. Why can't we win one? We're in a league with Louisville. They've won.
Yeah.
These other schools all been to the Final Four.
Yep.
You know, I mean, it was an unbelievable league.
Yeah, very different now. That's for sure. Very, very different. Hey, give me a quick update. We got time. If you got time, we got time, because I'm always interested.
I got time.
What's going on, because I know you're very close to all the high school coaches here. We got playoffs coming up here soon, the tournament.
Right.
Tell me about some of the players and good teams that we'll be looking for in the state tournament.
I'll tell you, you know what's amazing about this town? It's just amazing. There's a kid over at Tampa Catholic that the entire family has played basketball. The gym's named after the older brother. But the kid at Tampa Catholic, Carter Knox,
Yeah.
he's a junior. He's one of the top 10 juniors in the country. He's really good. I mean, all you got to do is watch the kid do one thing: dribble the ball, shoot the ball. I mean, pass. You can just tell his level is supreme. Okay. So that's a kid to watch for on Tampa Catholic here in the playoffs. There's a kid over at Calvary Christian. They have an unbelievable basketball program over there. Kev Burley's the coach. They have a junior named Daniel McGregor. I'm telling you, the kid is really, really good. He plays with a passion that I haven't seen a lot of kids his age play with. So those two guys, those two teams, saw Berkeley Prep against Tampa Catholic. Thought they played really well to beat Tampa Catholic. They're going to that district championship game, if it happens on Friday night, Berkeley Prep at Tampa Catholic will be an incredible game to go to.
This Friday?
Yeah, if they both win the
semifinals. You got to take me to a high school basketball game. Z, you got to take me to you got to take me to a high school basketball game this year. Like in the next few weeks.
We should do a game day from there.
Yes, that would be awesome. That would be fantastic.
Would that be fun?
I can go anywhere with this setup, man. Yeah, absolutely. We could do that.
It'd be fun.
Let's talk about it. Yeah, I would love to do that, especially with these, up and coming young players, and just get the vibe. I mean, I haven't been in a high school gym in quite some time for a big time basketball game, because that's exciting, man. The place is packed. It's small.
And here's the other thing about Tampa and I've been recruiting Tampa. I recruited before I got to South Florida. So, I mean, I've been coming in and out of Tampa since the early 80s. You know what's amazing? The amount of unbelievable nationally known players that have been in this town that are not lauded,
not household
in terms of by the local community. I mean, these Knox brothers have been unbelievable for basketball in the community. Thomas DeZagua, John Henson, Terrence Kinsey, Ronaldo Balkman, the Graham brothers. I can go back to Tony Mack, all these guys.
Did you forget the great Byron Wells? Did you just forget the great Byron Wells from Tampa King High School?
I was going to add him at the end because Rich Petriccioni, remember Rich?
Yes, of course. Yes.
Rich texted me the other day on the anniversary of Byron Wells' three-pointer against Duke. Yeah. He goes, "Isn't that the kid I recruited?" Yeah. I said, "No, Rich, that's not the kid you recruited. I recruited Byron Wells."
No, I can see that.
Everybody's trying to take credit for Byron Wells.
Oh my God, I can see that shot right now. I think it was Cassell that hit him in the corner. The shot goes up, hits the front of the corner shot, maybe over the backboard. He was so far in the corner, it was right on line with it. Hits the front of the rim, hits the backboard. It bounces up, hits the backboard, and it seemed like an hour that ball took. It drops through for the three to beat Duke, and Deckerhoff hits me in the ribs with an elbow. I think I still have my mark, and just goes absolutely bananas. I would love to hear that call. It was incredible.
Let me tell you something. It speaks volumes that you remember that whole thing, because I don't remember much from that night, because I don't remember getting home that night.
We went to the fourth quarter. Was it the fourth quarter? We went to the fourth
quarter.
Jim
Valvano was with us. We had a hell of a time that night.
Jimmy V went there, and you and Patty K, and the whole crew was there. That was a late night.
Hey, you got to admit one thing: we knew how to celebrate a win.
Oh hell yes, and a loss. He was the original. We were the original win or lose, we booze. That's where Bruce Arians got it from.
Okay, so we lost. Don't we have another game 2 days from now? Come on.
Let's have a cocktail. Oh, good times, my friend.
Fun.
Good times, my friend. Let's get together soon. That would be fun to do a high school game. So let me know, man. Stay in touch. Tell everybody how they can get in touch with you. You're still doing local coaching. I know you're doing your clinics all the time.
Easy sports basketball training. Everything's going 12 plus years now. I'm blessed, man. It's been unreal. Got the greatest clients in the world. Yeah. We're down there at Academy of Holy Name, South Tampa. It's just it's just been an unbelievable experience. one that my dad would be really proud to see what I'm doing.
Hell
you
yeah.
know.
Hell
Really
yes.
proud, because that's how we all started with youth basketball.
Yeah, and if you have a youngster that is finding his way in basketball, DZ Sports is the way to go. As you can tell, Z has more knowledge in this game, can teach the game, and one of the best shooters I've ever seen. Next to, again, I've covered Del Curry. I covered him in college. You probably recruited him, and the pros. Next to Del Curry, you got the sweetest shot I've ever seen. That's all I'm going to say.
Hey, well, I must have made a hell of an impression on you in the lunchtime games.
You
Jeez.
did. You put that in my eyeball so many times I can't count it, and then told me about it. I could tell Z stories for days, folks. You would have loved to play against this guy. He never stopped talking, never stopped chirping, man, and I loved it. That's the way we used to do it, and nobody got mad.
Yeah.
That's the way you played. You had to play that way, or you get run over.
Pat Kennedy grabbed me one time. He goes, Z, I got boosters complaining that you're kind of getting in their butts during the lunchtime games. You probably should stop playing. So I said, Pat, it's neutral territory. So they're boosters. They're in there to play basketball. I got no time for this crap.
Of course. Come on. Grow up. All right. Thanks. I appreciate it, man. David Zimbrov.
Thanks for everything.
Yeah, man. One of the best. We used to, these lunchtime games were just absolutely incredible. And some of the names that were playing. Mark Rick used to come down and play. He was the OC for Bobby Bowden. Skip Holtz used to come down and play. So a lot of the different, BJ Daniels' dad used to come down and play, Bruce Daniels. And we made so many great friendships. And he was talking, a lot of the big boosters would come and play, and Z would be like talking shit like to him. And he was, and I don't know if they were complaining, but yeah, I can see where that all went down.
Yeah, the way y'all describe all that, it just seems like life was so simple.
Oh God,
just play ball,
so fun.
Just play ball,
Yeah,
talk trash, nobody gets mad.
Yeah, back in the day, so my schedule was, God, when I first started at Channel 27 in Tallahassee, we were doing just the 6 o'clock news. So that was like, that was the easiest, greatest job ever. But most of my times we were doing 6 and 11, and I didn't go into like 3 o'clock. So my day was show up at the Moore Athletic Center or Tully Gym at like 11:45, and we'd go for hard for like an hour and a half, up and down, full court, none of this half court BS, up and down, full court, and just coaches, players, ex-players. It was fun. It was such great basketball and great exercise, and just love the game.
And I can tell you everything he just said there. We just went over 30 minutes right there talking basketball on the JP show.
Yeah.
And I feel like I
hope you guys enjoy it.
I feel like I just got hit with like a brick of absolute information.
Yeah.
Like I haven't really studied much college basketball, but I feel like I'm up to date now.
Yeah.
And I feel like I want to go out of my way now to watch.
And we'll have him on another time just to talk about how to fix college basketball as we get closer into the tournament. Because I think with NIL, there's an opening here to keep a lot of these young players in school now. I mean, you're seeing football players stay in school because they're making money. And I think that's good. It could be really good for basketball.
I'd rather than be in college basketball than the whole G League thing. I think that's
awful.
I think that's part of the reason why this year in college basketball I've been a little bit out of it, is because I'm trying to find who that star is. Like there's always an identical star. Yeah. And the two that are like head and shoulders above the rest are in the G League.
Right.
Do you imagine if like Wembayama, the hype that is around this guy, if he was playing right now in college basketball? We missed out on him. We missed out on LaMelo Ball being in college basketball. We missed out on Scooty Henderson right now. That's the problem to me.
Yeah, of course, if you don't have the best player, and even if they go to college basketball, they're one and done. I mean, all of these players should be in college basketball, making money, NBA money, NIL money, whatever, and staying in college basketball. We have these tremendous arenas, these tremendous leagues. The infrastructure is all there to have great college basketball again, and have players stay for a long time, not just one and done, and build some consistency and build some camaraderie and build some team chemistry.
When you're great though, you got to when you're great though, year one.
Yeah, but how many of those guys can go right to the NBA and be successful?
As a Magic fan who has been as invested this year as I've been in a long time, I thank the Lord that Paolo Banchero decided to come out after year one.
Okay.
Change the team.
He's won.
If you look at it, there's actually a lot. The last 3-4 drafts in the NBA, there's been a lot of talent that's been excelling right away. I think it's easier to make the transition now maybe than it was 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah, because the game's not
the game is so different,
brutally physical as it used to be. No, absolutely. But still, I think a lot of these kids could just stay in college for a while, and they'd rather stay in college, to be quite honest. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back on the other side. James Petracco is going to join us at 11:15 from Fox Sports, and we're going to talk about the Super Bowl, obviously, and Tom Brady is the broadcaster. James works in the booth. He knows what it takes, what the requirements are, And we'll talk about that. And I think it'll be a very interesting discussion. So quick break. We're brought to you by the great folks at the Jeeves Law Group and Bay Area Modern Medical Center. If you're looking to lose weight, if you're looking for testosterone replacement therapy, Bay Area Modern Medical Center is the place to go. Chris Lugo joins us each and every Monday at 11:45. We talk sports injuries and we talk wellness and what you can do to make your life better. So check that out each Monday at 11:45 or go to BAMMC.com to get your appointment. Back in 3. Stay with us.
JP here for Italiano Insurance. If you've started a side hustle during COVID and the business has grown, well, you need business insurance because if you get sued, you could lose all your personal wealth if you're not properly protected. That's right. Your home, your savings, everything could go. So get protected now. Call the great agents at Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799, and a real human will answer the phone and get you protected. If you haven't shopped your business insurance in a while, you could be overpaying by thousands. One customer had their golf buddy handling his business insurance, then called Italiano to shop it around, and they saved him $26,000 a year. Yeah, so call 813-877-7799 or go to ItalianoInsurance.com. Italiano Insurance, protecting all the pieces of your life for over 60 years.
The boys are back. The PGA Tour's Valspar Championship returns March 16th to the 19th with 4 days of incredible golf plus a host of activities that make it Tampa Bay's hottest spring sports ticket. There is more to the Valspar than just great golf. It's the Hooters Owl's Nest, the Snake Pit Club, accessible by premium tickets, and other great venues throughout the course for those with ground tickets. And new in 2023 is the Rooftop, a new prestigious venue at the 18th green with music, food, and fun. Plus, you never know who you're going to see at the Rooftop. Tickets are on sale now at ValsparChampionship.com for all tournament days, both grounds tickets and premium ticket options. You don't want to miss the 2023 Valspar Championship.
Attention, if you are home shopping or looking for a refinance, and even if you already have the approval letter, you must call my man Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Scott has a brand new program available in the greater Tampa Bay area called the Community Advantage Loan Program. Get this, no money down, no mortgage insurance, no points, no origination fee, purchase or refinance, and loan amounts up to $647,000. Now, there are some application requirements. It must be a single-family home, 1 unit, primary residence, and have a minimum 640 credit score. The program only applies to certain neighborhoods, so you have to call to find out if you qualify. So call Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Now, even if you don't qualify for that program, Scott will shop your loan around, get you the best rates, and won't charge you the huge upfront fees. And if you've had issues with your bank calling you back, Scott will return calls immediately or at least the same day. 813-294-7595 or email him, scott@amstampa.com. Scott Fitzgerald, MLS 386722, American Mortgage Services, 1000 North Ashley Drive, Suite 1020, Tampa, Florida.
Hey, folks, it's still engagement season, and where better to get that special ring than the Gold and Diamond Source. The Gold and Diamond Source has the largest selection of engagement rings in the country, a literal jewelry supercenter with 30 times the inventory of any normal jeweler. You don't have to wait to spend any extra time waiting for them to bring something in. They have everything right there in-house, so why go anywhere else? And you can get up to 15% off this January if you buy something with the birthstone, which is garnet. Garnet and gold, Florida State, get something for your favorite Seminole. And let's not forget the Emily collection from Emily Johnson Weintraub. Very affordable, real gold and diamond jewelry, always stylish and unique. Emily has created this fashion-forward gold, diamond, and gemstone jewelry line ideal for everyday wear. Each piece is designed to enhance your look by featuring eye-catching, modern geometrical shapes. Really unique stuff. Got to check it out. And, of course, Julie and Steve Weintraub, great benefactors here in the local community. So let's keep it local. And you can get 0% financing for up to 5 years. Get a big ring for a little price. It's the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Omerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
JP here for Emerging Investigations, Tampa Bay's premier investigation agency. Do you suspect your spouse is cheating or involved in a divorce, that your spouse is hiding money, an ex-employee or current employee with suspicious behavior? Is there a criminal matter you need help with? If you need information you can count on, using the professionals at Emerging Investigations is a slam dunk. Emerging Investigations is a licensed and insured private investigation agency, family-owned. Emerging is your ideal resource to secure evidence and validation, allowing you to make informed decisions in life's biggest matters. Led by industry executive Brian D'Antonio, Emerging possesses the experience and resources to get needed results. Emerging Investigations maintains an excellent reputation as a premier investigation agency. They are known for results. You're not just hiring a PI, but an organized, dedicated team using state-of-the-art technology. Their investigative methods produce crucial information used in criminal cases, insurance fraud, and personal injury claims. Many local attorneys, industry agencies, and your concerned neighbors all count on Emerging Investigations. Just go to their website, emerginginv.com, or call 813-291-FACT. That's 813-291-FACT-3228. Get results you can trust in life's biggest matters. Emerging Investigations.
Well, it's that time of year to renew or shop your health insurance provider, and you can get great health insurance for $20, $30, $50 a month. Just call 888-325-0605 to help navigate the health insurance marketplace. 1 out of 3 people in Florida are uncovered because they think they can't afford it. Not true. I made the call a couple of years ago, and they helped me get Blue Cross Blue Shield coverage, Florida Blue, for just $20 a month. Last year, it went up to $49. Oh, well. It all depends on your income and your family situation. It's a free call, 888-325-0605. They will ask for some income information. So if you have your tax returns available, that will be great, but you don't need it. They'll just answer some simple questions, and the highly trained reps will do the work for you to find out what your subsidy will be. 888-325-0605. And if you have a plan through your employer, you may be able to get it cheaper. It's a free call, so find out, folks. This has been a lifesaver for me and saved me thousands of dollars over the last few years, and you can choose your plan. It's a no-brainer. Find out. Make the free call. 888-325-0605. Get covered like me and thousands of others. 888-325-0605. The PGA Tour's Valspar Championship returns this March 16th to the 19th with 4 days of golf action plus a host of fun activities that make it Tampa Bay's hottest spring sports ticket. Sam Burns, who won in a thrilling playoff last year, is looking to make it 3 wins in a row on the Copperhead course at Innisbrook Resort. He will be challenged by a top field the first time in 5 years. The 2015 Valspar champ counts 13 PGA Tour victories, including 3 majors in his career. It will be a great field and great fun. Tickets are on sale now at ValsparChampionship.com for all tournament days, both grounds tickets and premium ticket options. You don't want to miss the 2023 Valspar Championship.
Let's go right now. Back to the show with JP on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at Italiano Insurance, the Golden Diamond Source, American Mortgage Services. Rates are coming down, so if you we're thinking, I don't want to get a house because of the mortgage rates right now. They got a lot of different products out there. Scott Fitzgerald is the best in the business. So give him an email, shoot him an email, scott@amstampa.com. That's the best way to do it. Say, hey, I'm interested in some of those new loan programs you have. So if you're in the market right now, he is the best in the business. He will get you the lowest rate, keep the fees down, and get you in a house, and they have adjustable rates that if the rates come down, you can get those later on. So just give him a jingle. Just contact him through the email, scott@amstampa.com, and tell him JP sent you. All right, let's welcome in our good friend James Petrowka from Fox Sports. Been working in the booth for quite some time there. What's up, James? How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. No Super Bowl for you this week, right?
No, didn't make it this year.
Yeah, me neither. I'm not upset about it.
Yeah.
Last year's experience, man, I was like, you know what? This is just, it's so tired. It's just, and then LA was so nasty, the whole deal.
Yeah.
I think that Radio Row used to have some real juice to it. Now it feels like really cliche.
Yeah. It definitely has. And I think, COVID kind of cut into it. There were a lot less people, and I think less stations and less, but and radio isn't what it used to be either in terms of people coming out and doing this talk radio. So yeah, I think you're right. I think it has kind of lost a little bit of what it once was.
Lost a little luster. All right. Yeah. So speaking of broadcasting, I wanted to chat with you about Tom Brady as a broadcaster. First of all, when he came out the other day and said, I'm not going to work till Fox till 2024, and he's got this $375 million deal on the table. I was like, what? And he's not participating at all in Fox's Super Bowl broadcast this year. I mean, he just played in the league. I mean, he played against a lot of these teams. He knows these players. He's pretty well known, might be an asset on the broadcast.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what the conference call was like when they told the Fox executives he's going to be on the beach among the sea oats instead of be on the broadcast.
Yeah, I was a little surprised. I was surprised a little bit going back a little bit, like, because I never really heard even before he made the formal announcement is that he wasn't part of the Super Bowl broadcast. I'd been talking to people even during the season. Now, of course, you don't know during the season whether or not how far they're going to go or what if he's going to play next year and all that kind of stuff. But still, I was a little surprised that he wasn't part of the in some way of the Super Bowl broadcast. Now, obviously, he's not going to be in the booth for the game call, but at least part of the pregame or some of the stuff. So, yeah, I was surprised. And then, with the deal now, part of his deal, which he could still fulfill next year and forward, is beyond broadcasting, doing things with sponsors and that kind of stuff. So he might still do some of that, but he's not going to broadcast next year. So that's, and I think we talked about this a little bit. The longer it goes, I'm not totally convinced that he's actually ever going to do a game.
Me neither. I don't think he's ever going to get in the booth. And here's one of the reasons why. And you're old enough to remember this. Remember when the senior tour in golf started?
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you where I'm going with this. All the players went out there when they turned 50, except one. It's Jack Nicklaus.
Mm-hmm.
Jack Nicklaus thought of it more of it as an exhibition, 54 holes more, and he really didn't want to embrace it. And a lot of the players didn't like that because Jack brought a lot of eyeballs. He would have brought a lot of money and everything else. The reason I say that is you look at the great quarterbacks, right? The greatest who have done it, right? Peyton Manning. Peyton, he's had many opportunities to go in the booth. He's not doing it. John Elway. We could go on and on. A lot of these guys, it's almost beneath them. And I don't mean to be belittle in any way. $25 million or $37 million that he's going to get paid. That's a big deal. But I think Brady looks at that, and then the competitive side of him. There's no, as I said yesterday, there's no scoreboard in doing games on TV. If you're a general manager or you're an owner like Elway or John Lynch, you're in the game and you got skin in the game. And I think the competitive part of him is going to move him more towards that. He's already had discussions with the Dolphins, right, about ownership and whatnot. Yeah. So I think that's the route Brady goes. I just can't see him in the booth, and I don't think he would be very good.
Yeah, I mean, I think he would be. I think he could be good because he would work at it. He would do all the prep work and all the preparation and everything. And I think he probably has more of a personality more than he lets out publicly. That he has, and we've seen a little bit more since he's been in Tampa than we did in New England. But yeah, I think the competitive part, like you mentioned, that was something, Matt Millen had said. He says, he loved broadcasting and he was really good. And it's a little bit unfortunate. Obviously, well, a lot of things are unfortunate about his tenure in Detroit, but one of the things is that he was on the verge of he was almost John Madden. I mean, he was at that level. He was a really, really good broadcaster.
He was.
But, and he said, I walk out of the stadium and I don't know who won or lost.
Yeah.
I don't feel it in my gut. And there's something to that. I mean, I'm multiple layers lower than Tom Brady, but just having worked for a team and broadcasting, there is a difference in that feeling, being part of the team and even the losses, the emotion that you feel or just being part of it, it is different. And so you say that competitive where Brady could, go to work for a team, and Lynch, made that move, from broadcasting to a team and being part of it. And there's definitely something to that. And I think that might be, more where the route that he ends up taking.
And what, in terms of time commitment and all of that, do you think that Brady, with all of his businesses and everything else he's doing with his kids and everything, talk a little bit about the time commitment, because you work with Rondé, who's crazy, you told me some of the stories of things that he would do and put out those scouting reports to the whole broadcast team, right? So what type of time commitment were you talking about? And when I hear Brady say, I don't want to rush into anything, I mean, he's got 8 months to get ready for the next season. Is that you can't get ready to do games in a sport that you've known since you're 8 years old? That seems a little weird.
Yeah, that part of it is a little weird. As far as the time commitment, it's, Monday probably maybe a half day. They're probably most of the guys, I think, and Daryl Johnston, other guy I worked with, was the same way as, he didn't do the report that Ronnie did, but his preparation was the same way. And they probably spend a good 4 hours on Monday watching, probably watching our game. Tuesday, Wednesday are, I would say 8, 9, 10-hour days, because they'll do one team one day, one team the next day, study all the film, look at their last game, look and go back. And, they're probably, making phone calls with, people they know. And then same thing, Thursday's a longer day. Sometimes they travel on Thursday, depending on where the game is. Friday's a full day because you spend for all day Friday with the home team. You go to practice, do the meetings. Saturdays, we spend the day in the meeting room, going over stuff, looking at film, going through the reports, meeting with the visiting team. When they come in, then we have our crew production meeting Saturday night for a couple hours. So it's a full week. It really is.
That's a 7-day-a-week job right there.
And it is. And there's no home game. So you're traveling all 17 weeks. You might get a home game depending on where you live, but for the most part, you're traveling every weekend, and usually either Thursday night or Friday morning. So it's a full-time, commitment. It's not quite the same amount of time as playing, but it's comparable.
Wow.
It's a full-time commitment.
I didn't even know it was that much, but and even when I hear that, Tom Brady's not doing that. And your point that he's going to want to be the best, that's the time commitment that the best put in. And he's talked to Rondé, he's talked to John Lynch, he's talked to all these guys about broadcasting and want to be the best. So he knows going in that it's going to be a 7-day-a-week job for 6 months, 7 months of his life.
Right.
That doesn't jive with his businesses. That doesn't jive with his commitment to his kids, really. So I don't see it happening, bro. I don't see it happening.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, like I said, if it ends up that he doesn't end up doing any games, and they'll work something out. Like I said, maybe he can do. I think the pregame show, and again, I don't know if that's the route you want to go because it's not the same feeling you get from being in the stadium doing games. The prep time is a little bit less for that, and you have a little, so that might be a little bit, a different avenue that he could work through, but.
And I know you probably had conversations with Moose and some of the other players about this. The transition from being, a teammate, okay, to being a broadcaster where you've got to criticize. In essence, he'll be doing Bucs games if he starts in 2024 and have to, say something bad about a route that Mike Evans ran or Chris Godwin or the quarterback, whoever the hell the quarterback's going to be, the coaching staff. I mean, all of these people that he's played with 1 year removed, he's got to be critical of. And that's one thing I don't see, Brady. You've got it. That mentality has to completely flip. Tell me about your conversations with some of the ex-players vis-a-vis that dynamic.
Yeah, it's hard. That's one of the things that, talking to, Daryl about that and Rondé and even, Daryl's been removed from playing for a while, but it's still hard, because you got your friends and coaches and, you know, a lot of these guys and, some former teammates, and that is probably the hardest part is being, having to criticize the people that that you like, and you have to be. But I think there's you have to find a way to do it so you're offering critique, but you're not being overly it make it fair because not only are some of the guys your former teammates, but you also have to see them again. You're doing the games, and may have to see them again, and. So I think it's tough. You have to really find a balance to where you're being fair to the listeners, to the the viewers and the audience, but you're also being fair to the player where you're offering criticism, but you're doing it in a way that's not harsh or unfair or
No, I agree. It's
a tough balance. It is.
Some guys can do it and some guys can't. I know Peyton Manning has said that he never wanted to do games while his brother was quarterbacking. I mean, and that's, I can't even imagine what that would be like, and because guys are they're going to F up, and you got to call it like you see it, or people see right through them. And now, we're hearing this about Tony Romo, Now, there's worries and whispers that he's not doing his homework anymore. In the first few years, he could just live off of his knowledge because he was just playing. And now now it becomes a little bit different. Like you just described, it doesn't look like Tony's putting in that kind of work because, we listened to him do Bucs games and laud Byron Leftwich. Boy, he's really calling it. Boy, he's so creative in his play calling. He's doing a hell of a job here in Tampa Bay. And I'm like, what the hell is he talking about?
Yeah.
So
I think that's you have to prepare. And the other thing I think's happened with Romo was as the further you get removed from the game, you have to study even more because the game has changed. It's changed a lot since he retired. It hasn't been that long, but still the game has really changed a lot since he played. So you're less familiar with the guys that are playing and coaching. So you have to stay more on top of it. You have to work even harder to stay on top of it. And I think he got by, not that he was knowledgeable or is knowledgeable, but his personality, kind of helped get through. And he was like the guy sitting next to you at the bar, And I think that some of that got a little bit old. And then the preparation kind of fell off too. So I think he's kind of dropped some. Yeah, I was personally never a real big fan of his, but as a broadcaster, but that's just my personal thoughts.
Well, why? Tell me why.
Because again, I thought, in my opinion, he was a little bit too much like the guy sitting next to you in the bar, where he didn't
substance.
Yeah, he got he got more of the style than substance.
I would kind of agree with that, and that doesn't that's why being a great broadcaster over a long period of time, like Aikman has been, is difficult. It's a lot of work, and I'm not sure Brady with all his not that he wouldn't want to work at it and be great at it. I just don't think it would bring him the same satisfaction. So we'll see. What do you think's going on with the Bucs now with the offensive coordinator hunt? It's been 19, 20 days now since they fired Byron. Now Derek Carr is visiting with their chief rival, the Saints.
Right.
Certainly the Bucs have interest in Derek Carr. What's going on? What should they be doing?
Yeah, I think one of the things is, what was last week we found out Brady retired. So I think, part of the going through the process, you didn't know if you're going to have Brady or not. And that does make a huge difference, obviously, with any coordinator that you're talking to. I know you had mentioned, Monken, who, I really like, and I think he'd be great. He's got to know kind of who if he has Brady or not. So I think it's kind of a parallel track in terms of who's going to be the quarterback and the offensive coordinator. So I think they'll probably end up with the guy. I know Mike Kafka's been not Mike Kafka. Pritchard's guy's been mentioned. Some of the guys, and so I think it'll be some along those lines. And then the quarterback, I think Carr would be a good fit. He's again, what's he going to cost in terms of trade? Cap value, how much do you want to put up towards that? So it's because there's a lot of teams that need quarterbacks, and there just aren't as enough good ones to fill every team. So
I think they need to be more aggressive, and it kind of seems like they're sitting back and watching how everything plays out. And maybe their plan is to just tear it down to the studs and not go after a quarterback. But that doesn't seem like the Glazers' way to me. All right, before you get out of here, thoughts on the Super Bowl matchup. I was watching Good Morning Football this morning, and Kyle Brandt had something interesting. He goes through the rosters every year and just matches up position by position and said who's got the better players. And by his count, he went 15-7 Eagles at position by position. This is far from scientific, obviously, but I think it does give you a good feel for which roster is better. And when you really do a deep dive on the Chiefs, I mean, they're a good team, and they drafted really, really well this year. It's been a huge part of what they did. But this Eagles team, man, they are loaded at offensive and defensive line. Defensively, they've got weapons. I love their leadership. I love their vibe. And you look at their numbers, they're just crushing people. They have all year long. I mean, Jalen Hurts is 16-1 as a starter. I mean, it's incredible.
Yeah, they were the best team that I saw this year, along with, I thought the 49ers too, but the Eagles were the best team that I've seen. They kept going through the playoffs. The one caveat I would say is Hurts with the shoulder, and if the Chiefs can make some plays offensively, which I think Mahomes could, he could do, and they have to pass the ball a lot, and I'm not sure that Hurts can come up, make the plays, big plays if they get behind.
behind. Yeah.
So I'm actually, maybe it's just more of an emotional thing. I'm leaning a little bit more towards the Chiefs, but the big thing though, I think, is the offensive line for the Eagles is so good, and if they could run the ball and limit the pass rush, then I think the Eagles can win it. Could win it real easily.
And Lane Johnson seems to be a torn groin, but he played okay. And he's had 2 weeks, and I think he's going to be okay. So and Miles Sanders is a hell of a back. What do you have, 1,200 yards this year? Their running game is devastating. They control the game with that. They're just an old school run the football, beat you up defensively. To get enough done in the run game and pass game. They're just good.
And their defensive line, the pass rush they had against the Niners they were just dominant. I mean, that's
devastating. Yeah.
Yeah.
So who you picking? Who you got?
So I'm gonna go on a limb. I'm gonna actually pick the Eagles. I'm sorry. I'm gonna pick the Chiefs in an upset.
The Chiefs in an upset. Okay. Yeah. All right. We'll mark it down. That's our first official Super Bowl pick of the week, coming from James Petraka, and it's wrong.
Probably.
We shall see. I think it's going to be a fun game. I just hope Mahomes can stay in the game. I think that pass rush is just going to be so relentless. By the third or fourth quarter, that ankle, I just don't know if it's going to be, be good. But I think the Eagles will do to the Chiefs what the Bucs did to the Chiefs when they had that terrible offensive line. Right. The Bucs just got after them, and it just neutralized Mahomes and Kelsey, and the Bucs rolled. And I see a little bit of a repeat in that. So
I think could be right. Yep.
We will sit through the 40-hour pregame and then watch. All right, James, great stuff, my man. Right. We will chat with you next week post Super Bowl. Thanks, buddy.
Sounds good. Take care, JP. Thanks.
I've been around broadcasting games. I've obviously have never done play-by-play for the NFL, but I've worked with the Buccaneers or preseason games for many years at Channel 8. I didn't realize analysts were doing that much work.
Yeah, that's kind of what
4 hours on Monday, 9 hour days on Tuesday and Wednesday, Thursdays travel, Fridays meet with the team.
Yeah. So it's really how much are you actually home with your family?
You're not.
And with your kids.
Well, you are. I mean, you're doing a lot of that studies from home, Monday, Tuesday.
True, but your focus
is
is obviously elsewhere.
Right. Yeah. Well, the kids are at school, you're doing your thing.
True.
But it's a lot of work. And if I'm Tom Brady, even for $37 million, am I signing up for that? It just doesn't seem like a fit to me.
I look at it like this.
He has to change his persona in terms of being critical of people, which he never really is. Mm-hmm. He's always Mr. Cliche. Right now, you got to bring some substance. You got to say things. They're going to hurt people's feelings, and you've got businesses to run, and you want to be loved by everybody. Unless he just wants to go full underwear model, which appears maybe he's doing that. So you got to change your persona. You got to work your ass off. You've got hundreds of millions of dollars. You don't really need to do that. You got young kids. There's no real competitive aspect to it. None of that fits with Brady.
Yeah, here's how I was looking at it, and I might be reaching here a little bit, so stop me if you think I am. But I talk a lot about Tom Brady being he's beyond the superstar tier. He's in the icon tier, right. Which is reserved for the few in every sport. And I feel like something like announcing, being in a booth and those things, you don't see icons of the game doing those things.
That's exactly what I say.
Michael Jordan is an owner.
Have you ever was a broadcaster?
Could you ever imagine Tiger Woods saying, "Yeah, I'm going to go be a broadcaster for golf"? No, that's what Nick Faldo does.
Right.
Could you imagine Jack Nicklaus doing that?
You imagine LeBron?
Could you imagine LeBron doing that? Hell no.
He does like the spotlight.
I don't think so. I've seen LeBron do more interviews this week than I've seen him do sit-downs in a long time.
Well, and again, the icons have so much. I mean, the opportunities of
I just feel like the ones who end up doing broadcasts are guys that are in the tiers below. Yeah. Like Terry Bradshaw.
Jack Nicklaus was never a broadcaster.
He was never broadcast. That's why I said Nick Faldo. He's in the tier below these guys, and he's broadcasting. Terry Bradshaw's in the tier below these guys. He's broadcasting. Troy Aikman's probably the highest that you'll probably get, honestly, of being a broadcaster with status, which looks like you died here over.
I did.
You die here?
I did. I just died. I'm no longer there. Maybe my voice is. We'll take a break.
See if you can get your computer back here.
I don't know what the hell just happened there. All right, quick break. Back to finish up the show. We got some great sound from Aaron Rodgers. Oh. We have that sound from the Rays. Their marketing meeting.
Yes,
we came up with the $10 tickets. Yeah, this is a heavily guarded, proprietary, secretly recorded video, audio, just audio. when we come back.
JP here for Italiano Insurance. If you've started a side hustle during COVID and the business has grown, well, you need business insurance, because if you get sued, you could lose all your personal wealth if you're not properly protected. That's right. Your home, your savings, everything could go. So get protected now. Call the great agents at Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799, and a real human will answer the phone and get you protected. If you haven't shopped your business insurance in a while, you could be overpaying by thousands. One customer had their golf buddy handling his business insurance, then called Italiano to shop it around, and they saved him $26,000 a year. Yeah. So call 813-877-7799 or go to ItalianoInsurance.com. Italiano Insurance, protecting all the pieces of your life for over 60 years.
The boys are back. The PGA Tour's Valspar Championship returns March 16th to the 19th with 4 days of incredible golf plus a host of activities that make it Tampa Bay's hottest spring sports ticket. There is more to the Valspar than just great golf. It's the Hooters Owl's Nest, the Snake Pit Club, accessible by premium tickets, and other great venues throughout the course for those with ground tickets. And new in 2023 is the Rooftop, a new prestigious venue at the 18th green with music, food, and fun. Plus, you never know who you're going to see at the Rooftop. Tickets are on sale now at ValsparChampionship.com for all tournament days, both grounds tickets and premium ticket options. You don't want to miss the 2023 Valspar Championship.
Attention, if you are home shopping or looking for a refinance, and even if you already have the approval letter, you must call my man Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Scott has a brand new program available in the greater Tampa Bay area called the Community Advantage Loan Program. Get this, no money down, no mortgage insurance, no points, no origination fee, purchase or refinance, and loan amounts up to $647,000. Now, there are some application requirements. It must be a single-family home, one unit, primary residence, and have a minimum 640 credit score. The program only applies to certain neighborhoods, so you have to call to find out if you qualify. So call Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Now, even if you don't qualify for that program, Scott will shop your loan around, get you the best rates, and won't charge you. If you've had issues with your bank calling you back, Scott will return calls immediately or at least the same day. 813-294-7595 or email him, scott@amstampa.com. Scott Fitzgerald, MLS 386722, American Mortgage Services, 1000 North Ashley Drive, Suite 1020, Tampa, Florida.
The PGA Tour is back. The Valspar Championship returns to Innisbrook March 16th to the 19th with 4 days of great golf action and a host of fun activities that make it Tampa Bay's hottest spring sports ticket. Every tournament day offers something different. On Friday, we'll celebrate St. Patrick's Day with the wearing of the green. Saturday means Valspar Live, where tournament patrons will be able to enjoy country music superstar Darius Rucker with a free 90-minute show after the conclusion of play. And on Sunday, we're going to crown a champion. You don't want to miss it. Everybody will be there. Tickets on sale now at ValsparChampionship.com for all tournament days, both grounds and premium ticket options. You don't want to miss it. The 2023 Valspar Championship.
Hey guys, it's a new year, so are you looking for a new you to lose weight, lean up? There are many diets and chiropractors and weight loss clinics out there, but you know where to start? Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Chris Lugo, PA, and his professional staff will devise a personal plan for you that gets results and help you keep the weight off. Everybody metabolizes food and supplements differently, and many of these other approaches are designed for the masses, the quick weight loss, but it doesn't stay off, right? Chris will spend one-on-one time with you to find out what works best for you, so the weight comes off safely without use of drugs that only work temporarily. So call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. And Chris will join us each Monday at 11:45 to talk about your wellness and the significant injuries to athletes in the sports world. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, I'm not reporting this as fact, but I just got a text from somebody not named Rondé Barber. but somebody who knows him well, that he got in the Hall of Fame. Not reporting this, just, stuff people text people. So tomorrow night we will find out for sure at the NFL Honors if Rondé Barber goes in. And we will have a rebroadcast. We had a great conversation with Rondé. Was it last week? Maybe
2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago.
Great conversation with him about his prospects about getting into the Hall of Fame this time. And really, really fun stuff. So we'll replay that tomorrow. And then tomorrow night at the NFL Honors, he will I haven't watched this show in a while, so I'm not exactly sure. But like James was telling me, Petrarca was telling me that they kind of go through the night and then announce them as they go.
I'm sure they drag it out.
Yeah. So I'll be watching tomorrow night. That's for damn sure. So, and then hopefully we'll have Rondé on Friday to celebrate his induction into the Hall of Fame.
Long overdue.
Golly, man, it gives me just chills thinking about it, man.
It's like I hate to compare the two, but I think most people would tell you he should have gone in before John Lynch. I think a lot of people would have told you that.
Yeah, I mean, just look at the numbers. I mean, I don't want to get into a different.
I hate to do debates like that.
They're both.
I feel like I've heard enough people
completely worthy.
I've heard enough people who were around that team that said that Rondé was more important to that defense than John and was seen as more the standout.
And that's the thing. It's a team sport, right? It's a team sport, and we always say this is the ultimate team sport. Football, I gotta say, is the ultimate team sport because you have so many moving parts. 11 guys on the field, 22 guys on the field. And it's just one guy breaking down screws up the whole deal, right? It's such the weakest link, right? You're only as strong as your weakest link because there's so much study in football. If you're the weak link, they're going to go after you relentlessly, right? That's the old Don Shula mantra. You'll find that weakness and just attack it relentlessly. And that's what all the great coaches do. And it's a team game. John Lynch served a purpose in that defense. He made sure that the middle of the field was closed for all receivers. All right, so go do something else unless you want to get your head taken off. Back in the day when you could do that, for what whether you want to say that's great or not, whatever. It is what it is. And Rondé was the most versatile chess piece in the history of the NFL defenses. I'm biased, I get it, but you look at the numbers, and the numbers bear that out. There's nothing that he could not or would not do on the football field defensively. You go find me a guy that can do that in this league. I think Isaiah Simmons might be a guy that can do that. And he's 6'4", 230, 240.
Yeah.
Right? You're talking about a guy who's 5'10", 180, 185. Never got hurt. Played 250 consecutive. I mean, we can go on and on and on and on and on, but it's just different. And I know it's an acquired taste for some of these voters who just, if you didn't play in New York or you didn't play in LA, you weren't on a competitive team your entire career, you can't somehow find a way to turn on a videotape machine and watch the guy play and what he was able to do from a versatility standpoint, that's on you. So hopefully this journey is done and he will be in tomorrow night officially. But the word is he's in. All right, let's go 180 to a different guy in Aaron Rodgers. You got me some good sound from the Pat McAfee show yesterday.
Oh yes, I do.
And so he's going into a dark cave for 4 days to decide what he's going to do.
He is
he's a different cat.
Yeah.
I respect it, Bo. I really do. I respect people who do different things and ain't afraid to talk about it and be ridiculed. I respect it. But let me hear what he's up to.
You normally don't really throw in this time of year. Have you thought about throwing this year?
Well, I'm still in the art of contemplation about my future. So
is that real? Are we really contemplating playing football again still? Is that like a heavy thought? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Wow. Okay. I didn't know that. I just assumed because the way you've given answers, it's like foregone conclusion. But you have told us numerous times you haven't got through that portion of your decision making yet. So that seems surprising to me right there. That's a real thing.
Yeah, it's a real thing, 100%. And that's why I think it's going to be important to get through this week, and then to take my my isolation retreat, and just to be able to contemplate all things my future, and then make a decision that I feel like is best for me moving forward, and in the highest interest of my happiness, and then move forward.
What's isolation retreat? We're just going into a cave?
Are you not going to talk? You're not going to speak? One of those things?
Yeah. Is it just you in there? And if you're just in there alone, do you know how many days you're in there? Are you taking an iPad, a book? Are we able to reach you?
What?
Is there good?
It's 4 nights of complete darkness.
What? You go to Alaska?
Not Alaska. No, I've been to Alaska. That's a beautiful state. That's a lot
Are
of
you
fun.
locked in?
Where is it?
You're not locked in. No, you can leave if you can't do it. You can just walk out the door. But it's a darkness retreat.
Wow.
And I've had a number of friends who've done it and had some profound experiences, and it's something that's been on my radar for a few years now, and I felt like it'd be awesome to do regardless of where I was leaning after this season. So it's been on the calendar for months and months and months, and it's coming up in a couple weeks.
So you walk into a room for 4 days, or is it a cave? Where is
It's a room. It's a little house. Yeah.
and they just kind of black out the window, everything's dropped down, and then there's somebody like in there administering like sounds and what we're going through, options of what
There's a two-way
mirror.
No, like a little slot that they'll drop in some food for you, but it's isolation and darkness. No, no music, no nothing.
Are they recording you and your actions?
How many people are in there?
Just myself. Isolation.
Oh. Holy shit!
Yeah, it'd be weird if you had some random stranger in the corner you couldn't see.
I thought it was a group. I thought it was like a group.
Or trying to battle for the toilet in the darkness with somebody.
So they're the one. So
is there a bathroom or you wearing a diaper?
I think you can wear adult diapers if you want, but there's actually a bathroom. Yeah.
Listen, I am very intrigued by the whole process of meditation, which I try to meditate a little bit every day. I'm not very successful most days to clear your mind, but I do try to do a little bit of that. Do meditations at night before I sleep. Put meditations on my phone. So I try to get into that different space. I'm not afraid to say that, not that I've done heavy drugs, but we talked at the Super Bowl last year. We talked about microdosing with Jake the Snake Plumber, who has a mushroom farm. This is becoming a lot of different. These are medically prescribed retreats and things to get your mind in a different place. Listen, this thing right here is the death of society. This thing is programming your mind. It is destroying your brain cells. It is the most fascinating invention in the history of the world and the most dangerous.
Yeah, I'm glad
we have to learn how to handle this, as our minds are constantly being manipulated, and getting away and meditating, doing these types of things is of great value. Yeah. Tremendous value. Now, I don't know what all those things I just don't know if I could do that.
I don't even like. Pat did such a great job of trying to on the spot get him to explain this room, and I feel like I still have no idea. There's a slot in the
little house.
Where they just drop a little food in there for you.
He said it was dark at night. So is it? Are you talking about 4 days of darkness? Like you're just in the dark for 4 straight days?
Yes.
And no sound,
no nothing.
Music, just you. Like I can't sit at home alone or in the car without the radio or the TV on in the background. And maybe I should. And I actually have done that consciously now. It's that just you got to turn everything off if you're going to do anything type of writing or editing or anything. I'm working on a project right now where you just have to just silence your phone and do all that stuff. It is so hard right now in the world that we live in to turn everything off, and we need to do that. We need to do it.
Yeah, and I think he even I listened to a lot of his McAfee interviews and write about them. I feel like he was talking about this year he's trying to get back to kind of the methods he was using in 2020 and 2021 when he won 2 back-to-back MVPs. I guess he did all these weird methods. He talked about I pronounced it right yesterday. Now I can't remember. Ayahuasca.
Yeah.
Whatever, and all these different things that aren't even
psychedelic drug.
They're not even legal in the U.S. And he goes somewhere and takes them and everything, and they made him play better. His focus, I guess, that was off this year. So. Mm-hmm. Listen, if that's what it takes to extend his career and play at a high level, so be it. I mean, I've told you I appreciate that he puts himself out there.
Yeah, I do too.
It's hard for a quarterback to do that.
I really appreciate that. It takes a lot of guts, and he's taken so much crap for what's happened this past year with the vaccine and everything else. And obviously, he turned out to be right in all of that. Anybody apologize to Aaron Rodgers? Nope, none of that happening. But it's crazy that people just can't wrap their arms around. And there's so much hate that goes towards him because of that whole thing, which is completely mischaracterized and out of context. I've never been a big fan of Aaron Rodgers as a leader. I've said that many, many times. I think it's the biggest difference between him and Brady. He's just, Brady is the ultimate leader and he brings everybody with him. And I don't think Aaron Rodgers has that vibe, and probably because of a lot of the stuff he talks about, to be quite honest.
I mean,
so
if you're in
he's a different cat.
You're in the foxhole with him. I mean, it's got to be incredibly, because he's so much different than you.
Yeah,
he's not relatable, really. At least it comes off like that. He might be the most relatable guy in the earth. I don't know. It just comes off like he's like just in his little box.
Yeah, and people take that as an affront, and
it's not,
as he's arrogant and he's an a-hole for doing that. And, I've even kind of fallen into that trap. I know his family. He's not very close to his family. That's never really a great sign. So, he's a very complicated dude. This part of him, I respect him being public about it and going out. Because we all sit here and we go, dude, you ain't walking away from $58 million.
Yeah.
Ain't no way you're doing
That's
that.
my only thing. I'm like, you really need to go on an isolation retreat to figure out your future, if you're going to play or not. Like, you have $58 million guaranteed coming your way. You're coming back to play.
I think he's got $100 million total guaranteed. I think
right? So for 2 more years. Yeah.
If he plays, if he retires, obviously.
Hey, by the way, I'm glad you brought up the thing about the phone too.
Yeah.
Because I saw this yesterday. I don't know if you saw the photo, but there was like the side by side of Michael Jordan when he hit that shot against the Jazz in '98.
Yeah.
And then there was the photo of last night when the shot was in midair, and just look at the crowd. You go to '98. Obviously, the cell phones weren't there. And everybody's like locked in on Jordan. And then you look at the picture from last night, and it's probably a good 90-10 split of how many people were doing this as Jordan or as LeBron's hitting his shot. And like, I don't see too many looking around there like this while they're also filming it. I don't see it. I see a lot of people just watching the moment through their little, their little box.
Yeah.
I'm like, really, people?
And when they're doing that, their focus is more on capturing the moment for themselves
and
status and having it put
yes,
it on
and like
IG.
I understand wanting
I'm
to
at
have
the
it,
game,
but
blah, blah, blah. But I do now do it like this.
Yeah,
like
you need to have that to the
I'll watch
side.
it if I'm watching if I'm filming, because I do like to go to concerts and stuff like that, and I like to get like 35, 45 seconds of those songs that you're there for. Just to have them for posterity, because I have this illusion that someday I'm going to go back and edit it into this one great documentary of all the concerts that I've seen for myself, which will never freaking happen. But I have it. I have it on my Google Cloud. But I try to put it here and watch it with my eyes and focus on the moment of being in the moment. So I'm kind of doing both. But when you're doing that and you're just, I don't know, maybe it's a subtle difference. I don't know. But more than anything, my focus is on being in the moment there and watching it. And, I can't take some video for posterity, but the people that are just all about just having it all the time, it's a little bit nuts.
Before we go, as promised, give us our exclusive audio for the day.
So the Rays are, you can tell them what they're doing. They're $10 tickets, right?
Yeah, $10 tickets for the party deck and select lower level tickets.
Yeah.
They go on sale Friday, I believe.
Yeah.
And this is for the entire season. This is not for a little stretch. They've done this before. They do little stretches. This is for all 82 home games this year, or 81.
So they're going to be on sale Friday at 10 a.m. Via the MLB Ballpark app, and with at least 1,000 available for each game.
Yeah.
So that will probably sell out rather quickly. So $10 tickets. So you have to buy them for the individual games, right? It's not like a season pass or something like that. Quote from Bill Walsh. Bill Walsh is the chief business officer now.
Ooh, that Bill Walsh?
Yeah. We want as many people to come out and see us play Rays baseball as possible. There's a great business slogan for you. We're always looking for ways to make that happen. And we hope that this price point and frankly, the consistency of it being every game and fans knowing what to expect will generate some of that interest. Is that the most obvious thing anybody's ever said? So how did the meeting go? All right, everybody. We haven't really attracted large crowds this year, or actually for the past 15 years, whatever it's been. Anybody got any ideas? Yes, you in the corner there. What's your name? Trudy. What do you got? Well, I'm thinking maybe if we don't have tickets that are $70 for the outfield and we make them like affordable for people, like, I don't know, everybody else is doing like a $10 ticket for every game so people can get in and just come to the games. Would that be a good idea? Yeah, the guy in the corner there. Yeah, shut him up. Stu, you can't just keep the gag on the guy in the corner there. Stu has been gagged for this, and Stu's in the corner. No. So you're saying that we actually make the tickets affordable for people to come to the games? And you think more people will show up if they're affordable? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Huh. What do you guys think about that? Not you in the corner. You're Bard. Yeah, I think I've heard a lot of people. There's that jerk on the radio. It's always talking about that the tickets are too expensive and you price out your own. He goes, yeah, we know him. So yeah, let's go with that. So we think lower ticket prices. You're going to get on the party deck. You can just come up and get a $10 ticket. And then maybe you'll spend a lot of money on beer. Maybe they'll actually become fans. And that's a great idea. I say we go with that. We're going to go with that. No matter what Stu says, we're going to go with that. And there it is. And that's how it all went down. It was
fascinating.
It's fascinating. Who'd have thought that? God bless Trudy. She came through. The intern came through with a great idea. $10 tickets. Wow. Well, congratulations, Rays. Welcome to the world of actually wanting people to come to your games and making them affordable to do so. So I know there's only 1,000 a game. Okay, whatever. But it's a start. So congratulations, Rays. Well done. All right, that'll do it for us today. If you missed anything, our thanks to Dan Lucas, who joined us today, James Petraka, and David Zimroff. Coach Z talked basketball. We had a really good. We talked local basketball. We talked LeBron. We talked college. It was a cool deal. So we don't do it often, but it's always fun to catch up with Coach Z. All right, tomorrow we will have our conversation with Rondé Barber, who we believe is getting into the Hall of Fame. That'll be announced tomorrow, but we'll replay our great conversation with him tomorrow. And we'll have some other guests on as well, probably to talk about Rondé. So we'll talk to you then. Have a great day, everybody.